Hello, welcome everyone for the From Love podcast. My name is Maryana Igoryvna, founder of Unwind Minds and creators of LFI. And we believe that our first emotional climate starts on the womb of the mother. So that's the purpose of LFI, to actually prevent any crisis. And today we have our guests to discuss any emotional stress or distress that the mothers go through. With Emma Harmsen. She is our psychologist and neuropsychologist and also business coach. So welcome aboard to our podcast.
Thank you, Maryana, for having me here.
Yes, so as an expert in neuropsychology and psychology, the first years of the baby and also how the mother is treating herself, right?
Mm-hmm.
It also goes to the neural system, the infrastructure of the neural system that she's having with her own to the baby, right? And your approach is also to see and be present and ask, what about now, right? What to do now? So can you talk a bit of this transition that the woman has during prenatal journey as a pregnant or postpartum, and all the nervous system changes? That's one question. And then the second question, how she are eager to come back to the workplace, and that's like the burnout that starts to happening.
Yeah, great questions. I also want to really congratulate you on this amazing initiative. And I, as a woman, but also as a mother myself and a psychologist, I'm really happy that these kinds of initiatives and missions are popping up more and more, because I really see that we need community. Well, us as human beings, but if we specifically talk about women and mothers, the community and connection and feeling supported is like a big part of relaxation. So thank you for and I really hope that this will become a huge success. So I think that's
so much.
That's amazing. Coming back to your question, I think that's also a very important part of it is the support that we as women and mothers really need, to also feel that we can ask for help. But coming back to what you were asking, I think there's a big pressure for us women to, because I want to actually answer the last question first. So this was about work and burnout, and because I think the pressure and the stress doesn't actually start after pregnancy when you want to get back to work. It already starts way before, because I think women, when they enter, let's say their 30s, they will sense a pressure from society, I think from the surroundings already, by questions like, do you want to become a mom? Or I think people already assume that women at a certain age want to become a mom. So there is already a certain pressure before pregnancy. And this is not only in the direct environment, but this is also on the work floor. And unfortunately, there's also still some discrimination, mainly in big corporates, that women, in the beginning of their 30s, when they apply for a job, that although never said out loud, that an employee sometimes, a lot of times, still chooses for someone either younger or a man at a certain age, because they assume this woman will get pregnant and it's going to cost us money. She will leave us. Then, she has difficulty, coming back to work. So this is still happening. But then there's something else. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to become a mom, there's other things. It's like letting go of your business for a while. How can I, combine motherhood with having a baby? So all this pressure is already before you maybe even make the decision to become a mother. And then when you get pregnant, obviously a lot changes in your body, and it's on all levels. It's physically, it's emotionally, mentally, it's even spiritually. Yeah. A lot changes. And then we have the postpartum period, which, as when the baby is born, also a mother is born, right? So, and this is something that you can prepare yourself for, you can read all the books and listen to everything, but you can never, you never really know.
It's like a new identity.
It's a new identity.
Brain.
Yeah. And that's, I think, also something that as women, we, after becoming a mother, we, and coming back to work, for example, we want to be the same woman that we were before. We want to be the same colleague. We want to, achieve the same targets. We want to work as hard, or, whatever your life was before you became a mother. We put this pressure on ourselves. And it's also still, expected from society. So, but having all those things and all those thoughts and this pressure, but then, actually feeling completely different, is really like confusing. And the confusion, if we hold this, into ourselves, because unfortunately also women expect so much of themselves. Yeah. And I think I see some improvements, between generations in like asking for help, right? Sooner than later. But still, we have a lot of difficulty really reaching out to say like, hey, I'm not doing well, or I'm stressed, or
because it's stigmatized.
I'm tired.
Still.
Yeah.
It feels like if we reach out for help, we are weak, or we're not performing good.
Yeah.
So
and this is so like, it's, what I explain to my clients as well. It's like a, these pressure cooker pans, like it's all added, and then, steam has to leave, in order to like,
come down.
To make the pressure come down. But like, and this is what women have usually difficulty with, is to release, because women, and in this case mothers, they don't lower their expectations of themselves as a, as a colleague, or as an employee, or as a partner, or as a friend. It's just that what they add up is the expectations of becoming a mother, and how you want to, what kind of mother you want to be, and what you have to do for your baby. So it's not...
It's the pressure of being a superwoman.
Yeah. And I think this is something, that is... it's actually, it's a problem, right? Yeah. And I see a lot of women from different generations in my practice, or between like 21 and 70, let's say. And so I also see all the transitions that we go through, and that, unfortunately, it's not always celebrated so well. It's actually just like, okay, I'm still the same person, so now I'm a mother, but I still work, I do all the things on the same level. It's just that I add extra on top of my plate. And men also, by the way, have these things, so, but now we're talking about women, but like men have their own plate full of other things. And then the society where we live in nowadays really doesn't help in terms of like the outside pressure, right? Whether it's like the situation in the world.
Parents, maybe we can say as overall family
system,
right?
Exactly.
Even though we're talking about mother, where the old pregnancy starts, like, of course, naturally and biologically, but as overall as we start a family, the system doesn't support us.
Exactly.
So they want us to perform the same. They want us to perform as we were the same employees. And then how the mother or the father actually release some of the pressure and come back to work. It's hard.
It is hard, and I do think that this is not like the fault of men or women. It's also still the society where we live in. Yeah. It's also very much ingrained in us. Yeah. So
generational.
Yes, and if I look back
overperformance.
at like, you know, let's say the last 50 years, a lot has changed to the positive, let's say, for example, for women and in taking care of the kids and like in work. But actually, you know,
Yep.
a lot changed, but like inside of us, it doesn't, you know, the speed is not as fast. So, which means that we women still feel like we are most responsible for the caretaking, which can be true, which is fine. But on top of that, we like almost like, let's say all my friends, they all have a full-time job. And also the ones that have kids, they like at least have like a 4-day, 5-day work week, right? But the tasks, the things that we do in the house is maybe, you know, maybe a bit less than, let's say, our mothers did in the house, but it's still not, it doesn't, the balance is still not there.
Yeah.
And this is not someone's fault. It's a societal problem, let's say.
As you said, it inherited generationally.
Yes.
It's like in our subconscious still, which was passed through our parents and their parents, which the man needs to provide, the woman needs to take care of the children. Even though so long, how many years already passed, we still have this deep down in our code genes and our brains. So it's hard to, and currently, like, people like my generation and younger, we are now like awakening and thinking, well, this is not correct.
Yes.
This is not correct. The family system needs to be equal, balanced, and the society pressure needs to change. And a lot of movements happening against it.
Yeah, and that's also what I want to say is that your generation, you know, so every generation is already changing, right? Because if you see my generation and my parents, like my mom was, for example, the only mom full-time working from my friends. So, you know, and how much already shifted. So, you know, and then, so this is, I mean, that's the important thing, that we see growth and changes. And the thing is, it's just not happening as fast as society is moving. But I'm already, you know, and that's why I'm super grateful for example, that you and you're not a mom, or, you know, maybe I don't even know if you're thinking about it, but like you already create this because you already understand, like, hey, you know, maybe in order for me to, at a certain point, if I would like to even become a mother, what can I do to prevent, you know, or try to prevent
you know, because all this journeying, as soon as I started, also I did several kind of therapy, and I wanted to create something for myself. And even by doing this project, LFI Health, which is actually to prevent any distress and help you to have the right information and facts to support you daily, it's actually because I realized during my healing journey that some of my psychological unbalances, let's say, like anxiety or depression that I had, was not mine. Was not mine fully. And I've learned that the anxiety was actually passed through my mom to me. And how I can prevent this to my future generations, you know?
Yeah. So that was also your first question. So I think it's that's a bit more complicated, and I mean by that so we have you heard about intergenerational trauma, right? So this is and this is like can go back generations, right? So there's also been quite some research with animals in like how many generations, like with mice, like a shock and being afraid of that like passes. So it's like 7 generations or something. And obviously, it's a bit different for us, but it's still, what it says is that like old, traumas, whatever, like cultural norms, societal, economical situations, they get like all passed through our DNA actually to us. So what I mean by that is that, yes, it's amazing. You can, you can obviously, like it is important to keep on growing in life. That's was one thing that I really fully support, is about growth and also understanding that you're never completely there.
Yeah, of course.
Which means that you can never prevent your kids for them experiencing some sort of a trauma, but also like that you project things from yourself on your kids. This is what we do, right?
Yeah.
And so you bring maybe the good things, the things that you love about yourself, but there's also things that you project on your kids, or you pass them over, things that you don't really like about yourself. And I don't see that parenthood is about preventing your doing everything you can with yourself and like healing everything in order for your kids not to not to experiencing those things in them. But it's actually about, can I take responsibility over that? So for example, if I'm anxious, or if I'm agitated, or maybe there's some anger inside of me, what I think is the first step is, can I acknowledge this, right? Can I really take responsibility over, like, hey, actually the anger is mine. I mean, I feel it.
Yeah.
And this can come also from my mother, my grandmother, my father. It doesn't matter if it's like from the female or the male line. Can I, as an adult, take care of that vulnerability inside of myself, right? Because it's usually, if you experience sensitivities, it's usually actually the little kid in you, right? That is actually, I feel anxious, or I feel I'm afraid, or I'm angry. It's usually not the adult.
The adult,
let's say.
but it's
So it's about, like, can I take responsibility, and can I like literally hold that kid and calm her down, or like at least say like, hey, it's okay, I'm here for you, validate the emotions. And therefore, if I take responsibility over that and I can sit with those emotions, then what my kids can see is like, okay, my mom, she's also afraid. She's also angry.
Yeah.
She's also sad sometimes. So, that means that if I'm sad, or if I experience all those emotions, it's actually okay, it's okay. And what does my mom do with those emotions?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, and this is obviously a very unconscious process in little kids, but actually I see that she takes care of herself. Yeah, she can express this. She can tell us like, what, today I feel a bit sad. And
it's being honest and true to your kids.
And it's being open that you are a human being and that you experience emotions, but that you then take responsibility over them, and that you can sit with them instead of being the victim, or saying like, and not kids, but even my partner this or that, or my mother this or that, or my boss this or that, instead of like, you know what, that really hurt me. I can, but it's my responsibility. I can sit with it. You don't have to take care of me. I take care of you, but still be able to show that it's okay to experience these emotions. Because to me, what I see in women a lot, in mothers, is that they want to prevent... so they want to prevent their kids to see them, with their emotions. Because they think, oh, no, my kid shouldn't, see me when I'm crying, or they shouldn't see me when I'm angry. No, actually, they should. Because what they start to learn is like, wait, it's normal to have these emotions. And therefore, it's normal that I have these emotions. And what our responsibility is, as mothers, is to actually, what I told you, like, take responsibility, name the emotions, sit with them, explain your kid what happens to you, and also explain them that it's not up to them to take these emotions.
Responsible for mom's emotions.
Yes.
For them.
So what you were saying, I think, yes, it's very important to continue to obviously grow and work on yourself and see where, what are my vulnerabilities, and what is my behavior? What do I do? What are my dark sides?
Yeah.
But not in order to heal them. Because I think
Or overprotect them.
Yeah, but it's actually to shine a light on your own vulnerabilities. And when it comes, when it's in the light, you can actually see it and name it, and you can understand, oh, this is what's happening, or this is what I do. And like that, your kid is gonna experience like, okay, so, I don't have to take your anxiety, right? So, and why I really name this is because I think a lot of women, specifically also, they have the idea of like, okay, I have to heal myself, and it becomes like a project in itself. So talking about perfectionism, it's like, okay, I have to do every therapy that I can, or every whatever, in order to, become like a perfect person, or like to not have, intense emotions, but this is not the goal of life. Like the goal of life for me is to actually experience emotions and to feel them, to be able to take responsibility for them, and to grow, right? That you can see like, hey, you know what? Wow, in the last 2 years, I grew a lot, and I'm aware of what is happening to me, but it can still be my vulnerability. And if you can show this to your kids, then that's what they're learning. They learn to take responsibility.
You said really well, like taking the responsibility. So we also believe behind LFI purpose and works we are doing that taking care of yourself is the most important, right? And is the taking the responsibility one of the first steps, actually? Because I mean, if you're okay, then all around you, even if it's your partner or family system or even kids, are also okay. Meanwhile, also accepting in which phase you are, and as you're a new identity as a mother, and accepting also all the emotions you mentioned, and the vulnerability of any state. So is the taking responsibility as a first step?
But this is maybe not on the level of already really understanding what's going on inside of you, but like I think there's even a step before, which is also has to do with responsibility in a certain way. It's about being open that you're not well. So it's like actually just speaking out loud to whether it's your partner or a friend, which is usually easiest, the ones that are close to you, or I don't know, your family, or on an app, like really saying, it's too much, I'm not well. So, but that's also taking responsibility, right, in a certain way. And then this has more to do with like naming it, like really, and being honest, like really being honest.
For a lot of women, it's hard, especially because through society, of course, we don't want to blame anyone, but this fast-speeded society made them think, oh, I need to perform, so they don't even are honest with themselves and have this mask, oh, I'm feeling okay.
Yeah, that's completely true. And still, I think that, when you're still in that phase, let's say, when you still are in like, oh, yeah, no, I'm fine, it's okay. It's actually because then you will stay a bit in that phase until either a crisis comes hits, or you become ill, when our body starts talking like this is not, I cannot handle it anymore physically, or your partner maybe says like, I see that you're not well, or a friend starts saying like, hey, I can also see that you're not well. So sometimes the honesty might come from the outside even first, than from ourselves as mothers. But it's I think now also what I see in that's in your generation, or let's say like the young mothers, like when they're 30, and specifically here in Ericeira, I see that there's already a lot of community created. I think also here a lot of women don't have their family nearby. So the other day I was added to like a meal train group for someone like with a newborn baby, and one friend, she just like, it's all so easy. And she just sent a WhatsApp to a lot of families, and she said like, okay, you can, put your name down, and every day for the next 3 weeks, this family with a newborn, they received like on their doorstep a home cooked meal from the community, let's say. And I think that's so amazing because although I also still have quite young kids, but like they're a bit older now, and but like 10 years ago or 11 years ago when my son was born, like at least in the city where I lived, this didn't really happen, so I think this is already shifting, and that's amazing. So sometimes even before we can say, oh, I'm not fine, there is already some support, but then that said as well, it's I think in most countries or most societies, or even in cities where people live a bit more individual, I think it's still very much up to the mother, specifically right after birth, to deal with, the baby and whatever, and with her body, and like with everything that is maybe not as smooth as you hoped for, right? Because we have so many expectations about like, when my kid is born, it's going to be like only like flowers and butterflies. So, but when people come to me, at least they are already acknowledged. They already acknowledge that they're not fine. But what I really, the first thing that I really, always tell people is reach out, like really acknowledge, really acknowledge, and be honest to yourself, and understand I'm not fine. Okay, what do I need?
And which is actually okay to reach out for support.
Exactly.
We should. I don't want to say we should or we must, but the purpose also is to create this awareness, and also for you, for your work and what you're sharing, is to create this awareness to the people, to young mothers, future mothers, or even second or third time mothers, that they don't need to do this alone.
Exactly.
They have any kind of support that exists out there, and that's what we also trying to create. If you're looking more digital support, which there's a digital community, and LFI here is actually to help you prevent these crises before they actually happen. So that's where the awareness also needs to come from, the right knowledge, and not the old traditional knowledge.
Yes, but actually the funny thing is, the old, like let's say the old traditional knowledge, in case of if we talk about community, like I don't know, like
I don't want to
years
say
and
ancient,
years,
because ancient knowledge, I think that was where
exactly, very much about community,
and where our natural cycles were more connected.
Yeah.
What I meant about old traditional is this traditional society performance. That was built.
Yeah, and actually, what is, but I also see that even like let's say 50 years ago, when or like 100 years ago, when women were mainly taking care of the kids, usually what they did have was other friends, women around them, who they were, meeting, let's say, with the kids, or they had like their family close by, right? And I think now the difficulty comes from like women, we want to be sort of perfect in everything, right? And we don't have time for anything.
True.
So, and that's the difficult part, because work, then being also still wanting to be the same friend that is fun and like wants to go out, then now is a big thing is how you look, appearance. Then another thing is when you become a mom, you want to be, there's always guilt. So I think that's really the conflict in where we live now, is that what I said before, we're focused on so many things, and we have expectation about so many things, and this is what we do ourselves. We will never meet that expectation because it's just too much.
Yeah, but that's what actually needs to change.
Yeah.
Because hearing from you, I just realized that, and I read also that you bring this to your own patients, which is to be present, right? And being present in every moment, even though we grow. And which I realized is no matter like how far we come, like already as a woman and growing woman in a humanity, our inner child also needs to grow.
Yes.
And being present is actually what makes that inner child grow, and teach the next generations that being responsible, accepting who you are and where you are now, and not overstimulating yourself and overperforming yourself, and being present in every moment with all the emotions and growing step by step. That's how your inner child also grows step by step.
Yes.
Instead of being on the victim mode, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Very well. So saying this, what makes me also wonder is how then we let this overperformance drop a bit, and just because overall well-being is the most important. So if the woman is taking care of herself, coming back again to the motherhood, then the overall around her is also well, but even though, but accepting all the emotions, right? Accepting all the emotions.
Yeah. So, like, I think there's a few steps or things that you can do, which are, I'm very much about doing practical things, like more in your day to day, because that's actually where the growth is, right? It's not about like, even if I always use the metaphor of going to the gym. If you go to the gym like once every 2 weeks and you like, whatever you do, like a very intense exercise, and then you're like, your muscles are sore, and then you don't move for the rest of the week, you're not going to grow muscles, you're not going to become stronger. So I think it's really about like, okay, there's big things maybe to do in general, like in growing, but it's actually making it super simple and small, because it shouldn't be too overwhelming. Like, when you're like, oh, I reach out for help, and then all of a sudden working on myself is overwhelming. Like, ugh. So I always tell, let's say women that come to me, or mothers, now we're talking about mothers, is what is realistic? Yeah, like what is really, really realistic? If you look at your day, one simple thing today that you can do to take care of yourself. And so this is not about like, okay, I'm going to take a massage once. No, I mean, that's really nice. But it's like something way smaller, because also when you take smaller steps, you can, you see the difference actually quicker. So for example, what could be...
something that actually makes you joyful, right?
Yeah, but like it's not
activity.
even... Yeah, exactly. But it can be... So there's like, I think, few layers. One is like really is about self-care, which means like, okay, what sparks me joy, or how do I feel rested? So this can be like going for a walk in nature. This can be just being with a friend without like even doing something, but just like, being around someone. Yeah. But I think what is even more important is to acknowledge like, okay, how can, there's different layers to this. So one is, how can I, do something for myself? And the other is like, how can I today ask for help? What tiny thing can I ask? For example, if you have a partner, my partner, or what tiny thing can I do to make it a bit easier for me today? So let's say, this mother is saying like, but I have to bring my kid to this, and then I have to cook, I have to do the groceries, and then like, and then my friend, she's actually needing me, and then it's
we
like...
take the whole world with us in our shoulders.
Yes, and then it's like, okay, wait, so stop. So I tell people like to stop, to take a breath. That's usually the first thing I do, is like, just take a breath, feel your body, literally feel what is going on inside of you, because we are here a lot, right? Yeah. So what I do a lot is like in the beginning is just connect to your body. What do you feel in your body? Oh, I'm exhausted. Okay, you're exhausted. So tell me more about that. What do you need? If you don't know what you need here, what does your body need?
Yeah.
Oh, rest. Okay. What does rest look like for you? Oh, I would like to sleep. Okay, wait, you have a newborn. So what is realistic, right? Like, okay, maybe you cannot sleep the whole night, but maybe what can you do in order to rest? Okay, yeah, maybe today, if my baby is asleep, I can take a nap. And then this is the body talking, right? But then the ego is like, yeah, but like when my baby's asleep, I need to do the laundry, and then you should call this friend, and then okay, and then I say also stop. That's the ego. That's the mind. What does your body need? Because our bodies tell us so much. There's so much information here, but a lot of times we choose constantly going back to this. So then, okay, so how can you take rest today? Yeah, no, if I'm honest, I can like take a nap when my baby's asleep. Okay, so how are you going to do that? You know, what do you need in order even to make sure you do that? Like, yeah, actually just not listen to this, but listen to this. Okay, try. Just try. When you're home and your baby's asleep, try. Go, lay down in bed. And
it's better doing this step by step and listening to your body and what your this side heart wants, instead of always listening your brain, because sometimes the brain, also from what I read, and I also did a positive psychology course, so our brain sometimes is just a tool, and sometimes it gets so into addiction of those habits, old habits and emotions and thinking that it just let you overperform in life. Yeah. So we should sometimes silence a bit.
Yeah, I think not even sometimes. I think this is something to practice every day.
Indeed, that's what I wanted to
Every
ask.
day is to actually sit. Now I just finished a call with a client of mine, and I told her, because she said and then normally I would do meditation or go for a walk, but I don't know, now I didn't manage. And then she's already like, shit, I should do it because it helps me. And then I said, okay, stop, take a breath, just feel, what do you need? I need some rest. So this was an example actually that I just had this morning. Okay, and how are you going to take rest? Yeah, I don't know because I'm so busy. And then I said okay, these things don't have to be big. It doesn't have to be like half an hour meditation or half an hour walk. It can be literally 5 minutes. When can you do this? If you, for example, if you're a new mom and let's say you're breastfeeding or you're giving your baby a bottle and you sit with your baby and you hold the baby, actually that's a very mindful moment. Sometimes moms are texting, but leave your phone somewhere and just feel and connect, because then you're connected to the baby.
Present, right?
But be present, but connect. You can connect to the baby, but in that moment you can connect to yourself. So this would be a moment to check in with yourself. How am I feeling today in this moment? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but how am I feeling today in this moment? How is my body feeling? Oh, I don't know. My body is sore, or my body's tired.
Yeah.
Or, I'm quite energetic. Okay. What do you need now? And I think the difficulty in that is that a lot of us don't know what we need. So it's I don't know what I need. Okay, but what does your body need? And if we start listening first to our bodies, we all know, because our bodies are so intelligent and they tell us I'm exhausted. And this is also a muscle to train, yeah? So don't expect okay, I'm doing this once or twice or 3 times and I don't know. No, sometimes you don't. It's I don't know what I feel. I don't even know what I need. That's also okay, because you created this moment for yourself, and at least you're trying. So until, I always say, fake it until you make it, right? Yeah. You don't have to be good at it. Yeah. That's also what a lot of women immediately think, yeah, but I cannot meditate, or I don't know. Just try, because, specifically when you're in that phase, you can also feel that your breasts are when the baby wants milk. So you feel something, or can you feel that you're hungry? That's feeling something. Or maybe you can feel that your muscles are sore. That's also something.
It's small practices, even 5 minutes a day will create a better result than just 1 hour trying to meditate or
definitely
taking care.
Yes, or doing, don't get me wrong, all those things are nice and important, right? But that's not where the changes are made.
Yeah.
And I also wanted to add, like, so I have like always 3 questions that I tell my clients to ask themselves. So that's first is the physical. How am I doing physically? You know, it can be 1 minute, not more. And then how am I doing emotionally? So what do I feel? 9 out of 10 times you will also maybe don't know when you start practicing this, but it's also fine. Like, I don't know what I feel. Okay, it's also an answer. And then the third is like, what do I experience mentally? How am I doing mentally? So what kind of thoughts do I have? Like, what is my ego saying? Oh, I'm thinking about the groceries. Okay, it's just becoming aware. So this is really about becoming aware of what's going on instead of then creating a solution. So this for me is usually the first step. And once you start noticing like, ooh, actually I feel tired, or ooh, you know, my mind is racing, or actually I have quite a calm mind now, or like I'm feeling sad or anxious, then you can do a next step. Like, okay, you know, wait, I can rest when my baby's resting, if I'm honest. I can ask my partner to do the groceries today, you know, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
So it's also training yourself to ask for help and then to let go of
the pressure,
the way that someone does whatever, you know. And or also, you know, if your partner cannot cook, maybe today I can order something. It doesn't have to be top of the bill, whatever, or super healthy, or, you know, it can also be something simple.
Yeah. You mentioned so interestingly the 3 different bodies that are within us. Because when I started this project, one of the things that I wanted people to understand is being aware is the first step, right? That's why the awareness and knowledge sharing. And that you have to listen your bodies, like your physical body, where everything is reflected from your emotional body and also your mental body, right? So it's very interesting how you said it as a first step to listen it. Because that's why, again, I want to phrase, because that's where LFI it's behind of. We are training our models to detect from the biometrical data in our body, emotional body and physical body, where the woman sometimes doesn't have the answer and needs the answer of, okay, how am I feeling? And what is the next step I need to do? Of course, not replacing the professionals. Professionals needs to be there always, and we have the escalation model to reach out to professionals. So that's where the support is actually needed to first understanding yourself, be aware, and then okay. So what do I do next?
Yeah. And for example, what I find very beautiful and amazing of what you are doing is that. It's also just sometimes about being acknowledged by someone else, whether it's, and usually it really helps when it's a peer, right? When it's another mom that either went through the same or is going through or whatever, and just saying like, hey, you're not alone, you know, oh man, I had this, because that's another level which is so important that we women have, is we always think that we're the only ones, or that we have to be the perfect one. Like, you know, all the tendencies of, I cannot scream to my kid, or I have to be like always the calm person and calm mother. Like, no, what you actually want to hear, you want to hear raw stories. You want to hear from another mother. Like, I scream to my kid.
Yeah.
I get angry. I get annoyed. I lose my temper, right? Because if otherwise you think like, oh, I'm ashamed, you know, I hold back and I'm failing as a mother. And I think there's so much space still and growth in like being 100% honest and true, because with social media and with like that everything is on the appearance of what you think it looks like, right? And then understanding like, but wait, you know, that mother that I see on Instagram is like after 1 month, she's already really in shape.
That's not realistic.
And whatever, she always looks amazing.
Yeah.
And she's like such a conscious parent and is always like talking like this to her child. That's what she shows.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's not who she is. And I can tell you from my own experience as a mother, but like also from like my professional work, is like I also normalize everything immediately. Like, it's normal. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with you.
That's so good.
And this is so important. And that's why I really support like your initiative, because it's actually, it helps when it's like, when you can just chat and tell like, oh, I feel so awful. I feel so guilty because, I yelled at my kid. Like, let's say the kids are a bit older, or like, and I yelled at my toddler, and because I got so annoyed and I feel so guilty. And like, and then someone says like, that's normal. I do this to my kid. But then it's about, can you take responsibility? Yeah. So can you like, instead of like going into the guilt and saying, oh, I did something wrong, I failed, and then working harder to prevent it, and then it's going to happen again, obviously, because you get anxious, It's about like, oh, I'm being acknowledged, like, okay, so this is normal. And it's actually okay. I'm not saying it's okay to yell at your kid, but it's okay that it happens. How do we repair, right? Kids, they are resilient, which means that it's not about the scream, it's not about like the scream. It's about like, if then a mom can tell you like, oh, I'm so sorry that this was me. So sorry that I hurt you, right?
So awareness of her own feelings.
Of her own feelings. And then this has nothing to do with you. And of course it's trying to prevent that.
Yeah.
But it's normal that these things happen. It's normal that you don't instantly also maybe love your baby, or that you're like, you're torn between like, oh, I want to be, I want to go out and I just want to be like free and myself. But then, oh, I love my kid. And like, and this exists way more in mothers than in fathers, because the first years of a kid, it is more up to us, like in nurture, like in really, we feed them, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and
just being, from what you hearing, it's just being honest to yourself and vulnerable on being you. And being you and being present.
Being present.
Do you think this perfectionism comes a lot from society where we growing from, and also generational ancestral traumas or concepts that creates this guilt that we try to shift? And how do we actually stop that cycle patterns?
I think every generation has their own challenges to deal with in society. But definitely one thing is that what I already said before, like the speed of, even technology, like the speed of AI and technology is like, crazy. Our brains cannot cope. Like, we cannot keep up with that. This is so fast, and what it creates in ourselves, because like we didn't evolve like that. One day, almost in an hour, probably now when we were talking, like things change and in technology and in AI and everything. So it's and like we are not built for that. I mean, this is really the case, and I'm not there's beautiful things, but there's also very shitty things about this, but we do expect ourselves to keep up with everything. So I think the challenge now in society is one positive thing that I see is that people do ask for help quicker. I think people are reaching more out to communities. Let's say mothers, the young mothers. I really see that. I do see that it's okay to, that people are way more open about like, I'm seeing a psychologist, I have a therapist, I did an ayahuasca ceremony, I did, whatever, I'm doing meditation. Like, so these things amazing. So the stigma is less. About like asking for help and doing therapy. But there's also such thing as like the fast-paced world. So everything has to also, you have to see results immediately. And if you don't see results, either in yourself or whatever, then it's like, oh, you start blaming yourself or you start blaming others. So, and this is in working on yourself, in your appearance. So there's so many quick fixes. But this is also just like superficial layers, right? So what I do see that there is a big challenge, and this is pressure definitely from society, is, I mean, in like the way we look, the information that we get, what is good for you and what is not good for you. I mean, if you listen to any podcast, you have like, okay, so we cannot eat this anymore. We should do that. We have to take this.
It's too much information.
There's so much information with so many different people telling you different kinds of information, and you don't actually really know who knows, who is really professional and not, right? So, and the intensity of information that we have available now, yes, it's beautiful, but it's also really confusing.
Yeah.
And what it does, it confuses us, right? So also like mothers, so like coming back to what you said, like this, okay, so, okay, she looks like this, she does this, she's like this to her kids, and she's an amazing partner, and she still has a friend, and she's like, and she doesn't have like milk on her shirt with it. Like, I mean, no one shows this, right? I mean, so what we need now more and more is to have real life connections, like really the community.
And openness about these topics.
Openness, yes.
Not being afraid to share and talk about it.
Yeah, but this is difficult, I think, in like, let's say on Instagram or like, you know, all these things. But it's that, therefore, I think that, for example, the tools that the app that you created, like the first step is that it's easy to reach out and to feel supported, but then also I think what you're doing with like the live, you know, days and like events, this is also so needed because everything now is online, and like, you know, we can do everything from sitting at home, but like in the end, real-time connections and like connecting to people and seeing their vulnerability and understanding, it makes us feel so much more human than like, oh, this is a super person or that. And so, luckily, always when like one, you know, thing is evolving, there's always a counter movement. And that's why, for example, I still, I told you just before this talk, like I'm very busy because, and for me, I mean, it's a good thing, meaning that people reach out for help and also in person or online, but like with a human being. But then it also means like how much people are, you know, overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And so I think...
Is this now talking back also, because you're so aware and such an expert on what you speak, is this also comes back from the overwhelmed pressure that the mothers, women or fathers taken from the society, like this pressure, how do you say it? This pressure pen, you know, is it exploding right now?
Yeah, it is. And not even only in, it's for kids, actually. Yeah. I think for me, I mean, I work with adults, so like 18 plus. So I'm not a children's psychologist, but actually I see also big crisis in kids. And this is really, really, really connected to, unfortunately, it's really connected to social media.
Yeah.
I mean, and we cannot make any other thing out of it. And this is, and social media, because, well, devices and social media, and kids are, and also the idea of that everything has a quick fix or needs a label, right? So, I mean, more and more kids have ADHD, but they don't have ADHD. Yeah, I mean, there are kids and people that have ADHD. I mean, don't get me wrong. But
they self-diagnose themselves from social media, which is wrong.
As well, but also this happens in schools. This happens from parents because they want to understand what's wrong with my kid. But the thing is, kids, they also get the same input of information, maybe in a different way than we get, right? But it's like, like everything from like screens, like activities, like it's really a lot. It's so much for kids, and then we try to figure out what's wrong with them. But there's nothing wrong with these kids. It's just that it's too much. They cannot cope with all the information that is entering their little bodies and actually little brains, right? So, I think one role as parents, one extra role that we got since, like, let's say, since smartphones and social media and screens and everything is, and it's a shitty role. We have to fight against like an outside force, which is so big.
Like,
it's so big.
Bad news.
Yeah, but it's like the addiction.
Bad information. Addiction.
And not even bad information. It's just like the screen itself. It's not even only the information that you get on it. It's just the screen, the input, the fast paced, the reels, the YouTube, like the swiping, like what happens to brains, to little brains. Like we are adults, right? So our brains are already developed. I mean, mine is already like on the way down, but and still you notice yourself how difficult it is for us to deal with like screens and whatever. But imagine a little brain that's still growing. What is happening is that those little brains, they get like dopamine addicted.
Instantly.
And that's and then we say like, oh yeah, this kid has ADHD because he cannot focus, it's like, or he's like restless,
overstimulated.
He or she is overstimulated, and that's for me that's a really like sad, painful thing, because actually kids are also the future, like we have to really take like if you talk about protecting kids, this is something which is really and then luckily it's a big challenge, and luckily it is changing. So I think for the kids that are born now, definitely a lot will change in knowing how bad it is for the kids' brains, right? Because like alcohol or smoking, like that's also something that we didn't know when it started.
It's always a new addiction. Crazy, because I'm a believer that we need to use technology for good.
Yes,
because we will never live without it. It's like a tool. We need to use it.
I agree completely.
But how do we still change it? We are on this transition, and it's hard to explain to anyone or even the kids that, okay, let's develop something we can actually use for good, which is impacts and brings more awareness, light into society, and not bad energy and addictions.
And I completely agree, because this is also this is the world that we live in, so we have to use it for good. Yeah, so like that's why I really applaud like initiatives like you, because, for example, what I could do as a psychologist, I could tell someone like, hey, we meet maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, but like in the meantime, you can, if you have a shitty day, you can reach out to me. I'm there, but I'm also not there 24/7, because I also have a life, right? I mean, I also have I'm also a mother, and I want to be present. And but then like, for me, it's an addition to, for example, the work that I do. It's not a replacement.
Yep.
And I tell my clients, like, actually, we can use whatever you have from ChatGPT or Claude or whatever. It doesn't matter. And, we can use it and see like, okay, so how can we work with that?
Yeah.
And I think that's,
but not fully relying on it, because we need to anyways bring that human connection, community and integration, and bringing these ancient values that the humanity needs to be also in cycles as nature and connected, because we ourselves alone, we cannot go anywhere. Same as if we are motherhood journey, or if we are healing ourselves, we always need humans to be connected. The tools are there just to support and remind you, okay, if you're not feeling good, well, let's then go to community, ask for support, or ask a psychologist that you need the support.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Emma,
Thank you,
for
Maryana.
coming here. It was a pleasure for
Yeah.
sharing all the questions and answers. So, those who want to hear more about these thematics, join our community. We're soon going to have even more online webinars. And if you're interested to download the app, it's already available, LFI, in iOS and Android. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.